Please whack your hands together for Luke Benson.
How we doing? Is everyone all right? Lovely, it's a pleasure to be here. I'll just get out of the way before we kick on properly. I am enormous, right? Just so you know that I know. I am quite aware. I don't need you lot looking at me going, he's a fucking big unit. Does he realise? I'm 6'7", right? It's a good height. It's a little bit over 2 meters tall. Meant that during the age of COVID, I knew that I had to be a me away from me at all times. 6'7", 7'3" wingspan. So only really two things I could be with these dimensions. One is an NBA wing defender. The other is a desert scavenger bird. Just got a new job standing in front of used car showrooms. Quite an odd-looking bloke. Feel like I've got the head of a 12-year-old on top of something that should be defending a village. Don't really feel like I look like anyone in particular. What I feel like I look like is someone that in your mid to late 30s you would settle for. Feel like when you're in your early to mid 20s you'd look at me and you'd be like, fuck off, you gangly piece of shit. Mid to late 30s, that biological clock starts to ring a little bit louder. You look at me and you go, what's that? He's got a second revenue stream and a good relationship with his mother. Don't mind if I do. See where those slender fingers will go. Tickle your lungs. You're a good crowd clapping at that at 5:30. You absolute sinners. It's good, right? I'm from Newcastle in England, that's what this accent is. It's cool, all right. From quite a shit part of Newcastle. It's called Newcastle. And where I'm from, people don't really have big dreams. Like a lot of them think that aspiration is that sweat you get on your crack. It's good, right? Love being out here. I've lived out in Australia for about 5 years now, right? Came out here for love. That's what I came here for, right? And they say that you can't put a price on love, but the Australian government says, about $7,000. They're all recovering for the visa. How deep's your life, car? First person I met when I landed was from Immigration Border Patrol. He pulls me to one side and he goes, you got any nuts and seeds in your bag? You got any nuts and seeds in your bag? Don't you messing with our delicate flora and fauna? I said, mate, Australia is about 90% uninhabitable. Why not let some foreign elements have a crack at it? And then I was interrogated internally. Didn't mind it. Next person I met was after you filled that form out where it says, do you have any criminal convictions? And I remember reading that as an Englishman thinking, is that still a requirement? That's all right, I don't have long, you don't have to clap at that. There's no time! It's good, right? I got to this bloke, right, and he goes, you know, you're on a tourist visa, right, mate? I go, yeah. He goes, 3 months, a long time. What are you going to do? I go, well, I'll probably read a bit, I'll watch a bit of YouTube, there's loads of stuff on there, I'll struggle to finish it. And he goes, all right, where are you going to be staying? And I said, oh, with me girlfriend's mother, which is true, and every bit the nightmare you'd imagine it to be. Fair play, he just looks back at me and says, are you sure you don't want me to send you back? What a legend. I feel like it's a fantastic country, right? You've got some good phrases. I think my favourite Australian phrase is, who'd you go for? Who'd you go for? I didn't know what that meant initially. I thought the person asking me that was asking me what my sexual preference was. Says, well, you know, like ladies mainly, but I know what I look like. Got a soft face and slim hips, I can be overpowered. And the way that worked out is I now support Rowsthorn. And I'll leave you on this bit, right? He carries on, he goes, who's in your fantasy footy team, man? Who's in your fantasy footy team? And I had to think it was on my fantasy football team, right? I suppose full forward, Gary Ablett Senior, half forward, Gary Ablett Junior, other half forward, I'll have God, so then you've got the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, but you know you've got God there working in mysterious ways. It's fantasy football, we should be able to do whatever the fuck we please, that's my point here. Everybody, right? On the left wing, I've got Pegasus and that thing out of Never Ending Story. On the right wing, I've got Nazi Germany, probably the strongest ever performer on the right wing if we really think about it. In midfield at Rook, I've got Gandalf. He's really good at breaking up the plays, always there shouting, "Thou shalt not pass!" Right, and then at half-back, I've got Quasimodo, probably the strongest half-back of all time. Just nestled in behind them at the bottom of midfield, I've got a curvy woman in a foamy bathtub. It's my fantasy and I can't help what I'm into. I'm a large man, I need a bigger woman, right, you know what I mean? And then in defence at sweeper, I've got Dick Van Dyke from Mary Poppins. He's just chimneying about. Central defence, I've got Vietnam and Brienne of Tarth. Undersized but overperform historically. Very good at repelling attacks from the front. And then at right back and left back, I've got America and Russia. They're really good at bombing forwards. Then in goalkeeper, I've got Caesar from Planet of the Apes. He just seems like a good leader. Coach and player manager, I've got Bo Leonidas and Atticus Finch. I like their morals. And then on the bench, I've got Israel and Palestine. Because it's good to have a bit of competition in the squads. Because obviously they're fighting over the same position. That's who's in my fantasy football team. You're an amazing crowd, thank you.